Okay, so let me just pull out my slides. I'll share my screen. So yes, over the 4 days, so we are actually going to meet each other for 4 days, today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So for Tuesday to Thursday, it's 7 to 8:30. 7 to 8:30. We will actually go through some of the basic concept of economics. And on Friday, okay, it's 7 to 9:30. Okay, it's 2.5 hours on Friday. So that one is actually, we're going to play a game. So as usual, we want to play a game to really solidify, summarize all the learning. So yes, after the 4th session, you will have a better idea of what does economic means. And this is going to be quite interesting because it affects our life very daily. Like for example, just now one of you have shared, okay, inflation. Now we are playing inflation. How does it got to do with economics? Why inflation happened? And I do understand that some of you are actually debaters. Okay, I was told that. Can I just check? Any of you actually still doing debating? If it is yes, don't mind just tell me yes. You are in the debaters club. Who is actually in debater? If you are a debater, don't mind just put a 1. If you're not a debater, please put a 0. I understand that some of you are actually doing debates. Are you, or did I get it wrong? Okay, don't mind do me this favor. If you are in the debating team or doing debating, don't mind just help me put a 1 on the chats. If you are not, help me put a 0. Oh, okay. Okay, there are some. Zihe and Chen Guang. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Sean. Oh, okay. Okay, good at us. So of course, I'm quite sure, some of the content. Okay, thank you so much. Some of the content is actually going to be very helpful for you if, let's say, you're going to debating. Because a lot of times, for economics, it's either what we call a social science or in fact, it's an art topic. You don't have the perfect answer. Okay, you don't have the perfect answer. So there's no such thing as definitely correct, definitely wrong. So that's why, for debaters, they also like to always debate on economics topics. So maybe later we will also have some little session to hear opinion. So maybe you all can actually give better solutions to some of the issues that we are facing right now. Okay. Okay, so just go through some introduction first. So basic economics, over the next 4 days, we're actually going to break down the content-wise into these 3 main components. Okay, macroeconomics, whereby we actually look at it from the top-down level. So really from the very high-end helicopter view. Okay, from a country perspective, what is economics about? Okay, I'll be doing that. So today I'll be the main trainer. I'll actually go through with you what do you mean by macroeconomics, what do I mean by looking from the very top end. Okay, tomorrow Alvin, okay, hope you all can remember Alvin. So Alvin will actually go into microeconomics. So this is more on an individual level, okay, more from the ground up level, okay, company level, very individual level. How is the price formed, so on and so forth. No, Alvin, you want to actually give some teaser what you're going to do tomorrow, Alvin?
Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you microecons. Yeah, it's microecons, very micro. Bring your microscope, please. So find out more tomorrow and know that what is actually what microecons, so that how does it affect our daily lives. So yeah, microscope not needed actually. Yeah, please.
Okay, and on day 3, yes, Kenny is actually going to talk about something happening around now. Can someone tell me what is happening in Eastern Europe right now? Okay, there is something very major happening. What is happening in Eastern Europe right now? A very big event. A lot of people are dying. Okay, thank you so much. Ukraine war, and of course, with the Ukraine war, you may also have heard, the supply chain is disrupted. People are going without food. So how does this all come to do with economy? Okay, so of course it's all related. It's also economic problem when we have war. And of course, this one, Kenny will actually go in detail on day 3. Kenny, you want to just give a very short teaser on what's going to happen in day 3?
Yes, so I'm probably going to share more about the national trading systems or economic systems, and then a bit on globalization and how it affects us lah. Yeah.
Okay. And on the last day, same thing, we have a game, just like the last time, we have a game, a mini competition. Okay, not so much of in the end deciding who is the winner or the loser. Okay, but really after the game, you have a better idea, lah. You know, how does economy works? How does it affect life? And yes, prizes at stake. There will be prizes for winner. Who won the last round? Is it Chen Guang? Chen Guang actually won the last round, right? If I remember. Chen Guang, do you actually win the last round?
It's been so long, I can't remember. Sorry.
Okay, that means the price is not good enough. Okay, so anyway, so yep, do enjoy these 3 days. Of course, to do well in the game, you actually need to have content. Okay, get the concept over the next 3 days. Then of course you can really do well in the game. Okay, so this is what we're actually going to go through over the next 4 days. Hope you actually enjoy. Now, let's get started. Let's go from the very ground zero. What is economics? As you can actually see here, is a social science concerned with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. It studies how individual, businesses, government, and nation make choice about how to allocate resources. Wow, so many words, so big words. What does it mean? Basically is to answer this very simple questions. Okay, I think you agree with me. Resources are always limited, but the ones are always unlimited. Okay, I'm quite sure you want a lot of things, you know. You want to go to Japan, you want to go to Disneyland, you know, you want to drive a car, you want a bicycle, you want to eat nice food, so on and so forth. Ones are limited. Okay, but the resources are always limited. There's only so much things we can buy. So how do we actually distribute limited resources to unlimited ones? Okay. So I just going to start, you know, let you understanding economics by this very simple exercise. Please, if you can, please try to think of some creative answer. Now, assuming this, we have 3 persons here. Emin, that's me, Kenny, okay, and Alvin, okay, and all of us need to go to work. All of us need to travel to work. But unfortunately, okay, there's only 1 car and 1 bicycle, and one of us have to walk. Now, if let's say, for example, you are, okay, I don't know, the God or someone that can help us to decide. Okay, so let's say, for example, you are the one that have the car, you are the one that have the bicycle, and 3 of us come to you and say, hey, we need all these resources to go to work. How should you decide who will get what? Okay, how do you actually decide? No, should Emin take the car, or should Kenny take the car, or should Alvin take the car, or should Emin be walking or Kenny be cycling? Okay, any ideas, please? How do we actually distribute limited resources to unlimited ones? Of course, everybody would love to drive. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted. Yeah.
Hello, yeah, I'm I'm Yu Xi.
Hi.
So I'm so yeah. So I mean limited resources to unlimited ones, right? So actually, in this case, like one of you like have to like work, right? So I think it's about the concept of like kind of like you know, like kind of like sharing. In the case of like the car is like, for example, the carpooling, like basically like some like basically like about you know, sharing like some like the resources.
Okay, thank you so much. So like, for example, carpool. Okay, so I've got very interesting thing. So you decide by who is the fitness. Oh, okay, and Pinko. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. In fact, Pinko is the one I like to answer. And of course, Easy, thank you so much for sharing. Yes, of course. Now there's actually more and more interesting solution like carpool, so on and so forth. But in terms of economics, they actually have this way to distribute resources, which is what exactly is what Ping Guo is saying. Whoever that pay more money will get more resources. Okay, if I'm able to pay more than Kenny or an Alvin, then yes, I get to get a car. If Alvin is going to pay more, he get a bicycle. And if let's say Kenny cannot pay, he actually going to walk. And that is what the economics trying to solve. And you are correct. The main tool that's actually used to distribute resources is actually money. It's actually money. Now think about this. Think about this. Okay. Can you say that a road sweeper work less hard than a doctor? No? Yes or no? Is it a fair statement? A road sweeper work less hard than a doctor? Okay, no. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, everyone actually works hard. Everyone actually works very hard. Okay, be it whether you are a doctor, be it whether you're a road sweeper, be it a cleaner, everyone need to be respected. Yeah.
I think it's more of like the abilities of an individual. Like some people, they are just they just do not have the abilities maybe.
Sure. Of course. Yes. You have some abilities, but my point is, even if you're a road sweeper, if the person is a road sweeper, he actually work hard. But the thing here is if when everyone work hard, and yet, you know, I'll put it this way, just between you and me, human to human. So I put in 8 hours of work, you also put in 8 hours. Okay, but then if let's say this person work 8 hours and yet he drive a car, and the other person work 8 hours and yet he only can afford the bus. And think about it, and everyone is happy about it. By right, those taking bus should be quite unhappy, right? It's like, hey, I also work hard, you also work hard. Then how can I take bus, you drive car? Okay, so if let's say you don't have economics to actually have this model to help to distribute resources, exactly like what you see say, yes, he drive a car because he not only work hard, he has the capability. And in the end, he earn more money. And of course, with that, he actually buy a car. And you know, everyone is actually happy about it. So that's why it's actually called social science. It actually helps to distribute resources. You know, who should take car, who should actually drive a car, who should actually ride a bike, who should actually take bus, and eventually everyone is happy about it. So this is what economy is about. Okay, so hopefully I actually give you a very broad idea what economy is. And of course, the thing that give people the comfort, they're happy is the money. Okay, because doctor, that's what you see actually says correctly. So doctor, they earn more. So of course they drive a car. And of course, if let's say a sweeper, they earn lesser, they take a bus, but in the end, they're actually all happy. Okay, the sweeper taking bus at time won't say that, oh, why he actually drive a car? Oh, because okay, with this money, he actually set everything in equilibrium. Wow, Chen Guang, nice. I want a communist Victorian world where things are shared according to needs. Okay, thank you so much. Good, Chen Guang. This is where I had this discussion with Kenny as well, and Kenny is actually going to discuss more about this. Okay. That's Stalin, okay. Wow, interesting. Good. So good. I have actually some idea. And yes, so all this are actually related to economics. Okay, now let me just start my sharing today. So today I'm actually going to talk about macroeconomics. And the main thing about macroeconomics is actually fiscal and monetary policy. Now, what is macroeconomics? That means we are actually looking at things from a country perspective or economy perspective. Okay, country perspective or economy perspective, looking at it as a whole. So if let's say, for example, you are now the government. Okay, you are now the government, you have a lot of people, they need goods and services. Okay, and yes, one way is to just simply like the communist way, as per what you are saying, everybody will just get the same amount of resources. That's one way. And of course there are other ways, but the thing here is this: they, as a government, okay, they have to make sure that all the people, they can get the resources they need. So of course now the most common way is using money to distribute lah. Okay, as per what you say, the money to distribute. If you have more money, you can actually get more resources. You have less money, can actually get less resources. So in order for people to earn money, what's going to happen? They actually need to provide, they actually need to go and work to actually provide the labor. Okay, provide the labor to actually get the money. Okay, so that they can buy the goods and services. At the same time, the companies from the labor is actually able to produce the goods and services that the people need. And what macroeconomic does is this: we need this model to run properly, run well, everything in balance, whereby everyone has a job. Okay, why they need a job? Because no job, no money. No money cannot get resources. Everyone must have a job to actually make the money, and so that they can actually buy the goods and services. So macroeconomy is really about how to make this model work well, so that okay, number one, everyone have a job. Number two, all of them have enough money to actually buy the goods and services. And number three, okay, the desired goods and services are being produced by the companies. So this is what macroeconomics is about. So in this, if let's say everything is doing well, this model running well, okay, then of course the economy is good. Okay, one good example is like Singapore. Okay, relatively speaking, Singapore economy is actually doing quite good because most of us have a job. Okay, our unemployment is low. We would have enough money for basic needs. And most of the items we want, we can actually get it in Singapore. Okay, but how do we actually get here is a lot of work involved. It's a lot of work involved. Now, we need to understand something about the economy, which always bring the economy out of the equilibrium. Not get the economy out into problem. There is a cyclical effect in the economy. Okay, economies always go in circles. There is always a cyclical effect in the economy. So let's say, for example, okay, for whatever reason, there is a greater demand for, let's say, toys. Okay, there's a new toy, there's a huge demand for, or let's say bicycles. Huge demand for bicycles. Wow, a lot of people like bicycles. Then of course the company see, oh, they are actually going to produce more bicycles. Okay, wow, they say that, wow, a lot of people want to buy bicycles, I want to produce more bicycles. And if they want to produce more bicycles, what's going to happen? They actually need to get more labor to come in. Okay, get more labor to come in. Then of course, when get more labor to come in, more people get employed. Okay, more people get employed, more people got money. Then what's going to happen? Oh, more people got money, then they are going to increase the demand for the bicycles even more. And it will always go round and round and round until something happens. Then it will actually go into a negative spiral. Because the reverse will also work. Let's say, for example, demand for restaurant, demand for certain food actually drops. Then what's going to happen? Companies say, oh dear, I need to retrench people. Okay, I have lesser customer to retrench people. Then the demand for the labor drop. Okay, less people get employed. And of course, then less people can go for the restaurant food, and it can go into a negative spiral. Okay, so this is something you have to take note in an economic system. Oh yes, correct. So that's why, Chen Guang, you're right. That's why we always have this thing called the bubble burst. And we also have this thing called the recession. Okay, very good, very good. I think you all have been following papers. Okay, well done, well done. So this is what macroeconomics is about, looking at it from the top down. from a country perspective, how to make sure everyone have a job, how to make sure everyone have the money to buy what they need, and how to make sure that the desired goods and services are produced. Okay, these are the main issues we actually look at in macroeconomics. And of course, things don't always turn out as what we want because of a cyclical effect. Okay, you will always go around, spin up and up and up, or either spin down and down and down. Okay, always go in cyclical, so it's very hard to actually pinpoint. Okay, yeah, animal farm. Unfortunately, I actually didn't do animal farm during my school days. But yes, I believe yes, it's actually an economic system, if I could recall. Thank you so much, Chong Sing. I think it's a very good analogy. Thank you so much. Okay. As I mentioned, because of the cyclical effect, it's definitely not easy for the model to work. Things can often spin out of hand. Okay, so what are some of the common issues that happen? Okay, like for example, is there enough job in the economy? Okay, is there enough job in the economy? There are actually a lot of countries whereby the unemployment rate is high. Then if there's not enough job, what happened? Okay, unemployment is high. Then unemployment high, what happened? Okay, people have no money. People have no money, they cannot actually get the resources. Then there is a problem already. Okay, then there is a problem for the system because you cannot have people not getting resources like food, healthcare. Okay, then the economy is a problem. Okay, so this is one of the main issue that the government always have to manage. Second thing is this: is there enough labor to produce the goods? Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I have not enough people to produce the goods that people need. Okay, then what I'm going to do? Okay, later we actually discuss a bit more. And the third thing here is this: are the goods too expensive? We also can have cases whereby the goods are too expensive. People work, they actually cannot get a job. Then that is a problem. Okay, of course, yes, that will be a more in-depth economic issues to discuss. Pinko, you're right. So that is also part of economic issues. So we actually have like income gaps, whereby the rich are too rich, the poor are too poor. I think we'll take it one step at a time. But yes, in fact, that is also one huge economic issue to solve. Now, yes, you see, you want to say something?
Yeah. So basically, now I think now the economic vulnerability is actually like it's actually like becoming greater as our world become more globalized, because basically globalization, which means like international companies like in a country there are actually like international companies, right? So if let's say like due to some political reasons or whatever, right, then after that country decided to actually like pull that company out, then there will be problems.
That is correct. Yes. So in fact, that's what happened in Russia right now. Okay, a lot of American companies, European companies are pulling out. Then they actually cause a bit of unemployment. Then that's why the Russians always complain. Yes, they're actually fighting a physical war, but in fact, the rest of US, Europe is actually fighting an economic war with Russia right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is also like, this is also like similar to like the trade war like which like Trump launched. Like US companies start pulling out of China.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's come back to some of the main thing I need you to learn. Okay. So of course, we talk about unemployment. I want to introduce you all to this website called Trading Economics. Okay, so this is where you can actually find out a lot more information. Okay, tradingeconomics.com. Okay, if you can, please also go to this website. Let's do an exercise together. Also, this is where you can actually get a lot of economic information. Now, number one, let's look at United States. United States. Let's look at what is the unemployment rate. Okay, so what I did here is this: I went to the website, then actually I click on United States. Then after that, I click on unemployment rates. Okay. So what you actually see here is this: the unemployment rate is actually going down. Unemployment rate is actually going down. So is this good for the economy or bad for the economy? Anyone can help me here? So when unemployment is getting lesser and lesser, is it good or is it bad for the economy? Okay, it's good.
Depends on who you ask.
Depends. Why do you say that?
Because when unemployment is at an all-time high, as you saw during COVID, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of like the government prints a lot of money and all, which gets the economy growing faster. You see that
Yes.
actually during COVID, right, the economy grew faster than while the unemployment rate skyrocketed because of governmental spending.
Okay. And now it's actually low. So is it good or bad? Okay.
It's bad for the people, but good for the companies.
Unemployment rate low is bad for the people. Why do you actually say that?
No, high. When the unemployment rate is high.
Correct. Yeah, it's high, it's bad, but when now it's actually going down, so is it good or bad?
Good.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so we need unemployment rate to be low. Okay, we need unemployment rate to be low, so that you know, based on the basics of macroeconomics, unemployment rate low, that means people working, people have the money to actually buy the resources. So in this case, you can see that, hey, you know, US economy is actually doing quite okay because the unemployment is actually coming down. Okay, now help me do this exercise here. Can someone help me to find what is the unemployment rate for Singapore? Okay, from the website, yeah. And please share on the chat now. What is the unemployment rate for Singapore? Wow, Zhongxing is very fast, 2.1. Okay, let's see whether it is. Okay, let's see whether it is 2.1. Okay, 2.2. Okay, I better wait for another answer. What is the unemployment rate for Singapore? Okay, so also say 2.2. Let's see. Okay, if you actually go back to the main page to look for Singapore. Singapore is here. Unemployment rate, you can see is actually 2.2. So from that perspective, actually Singapore economy is also doing very well. Now, there is actually some theoretical number. So generally speaking, when the unemployment rate is 4% or below, okay, that means the economy is what we call fully employed. Okay, economy is actually what we call fully employed. So there will always be people that choose not to work, or either that is in transition. So you cannot expect this number to be 0. So in that sense, if it's actually below 4, it's actually fully employed. Okay, now I need you to do this exercise. Okay, name the country that has the highest unemployment rate. Let's see who can actually get it. Name the country that has the highest unemployment rate. Okay, Zihe says South Africa. Okay, let's see. Congo. Okay, South Africa, unemployment rate is actually 34.5. Wow. 34.5. Okay, let's look at Congo. They don't even have the unemployment rate figure. Interesting. They don't even have the unemployment rate figure. Okay, and let's look at. Okay, South Africa, I actually checked. Okay, Congo. Don't have a Congo, don't have. Congo don't have, sorry. Okay, so South Africa, just I checked, it's about 34 point unemployment rate. As you can see, South Africa is actually 34.5. Okay, so let's look at Equatorial Guinea. Or Republic of Congo, maybe this one. Okay, 10.3. Okay, it's actually South Africa is actually worse off. And
Wait, is unemployment rate the same as jobless rate?
yes, it is.
Then if you click on a jobless rate, right, it will automatically like do everything for you. Like you click on yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Then it's
Thank you so
Congo.
much. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. So it's actually Congo. Thank you so much. Thanks. Okay, so you can see that there are actually certain economy. You really don't have people working. So from a macroeconomic perspective, the economy is actually in very bad shape. People don't work. What's going to happen? They actually need to. They don't have the money. They don't have the money, then cannot buy the resources they need. Then the macroeconomic perspective wise is actually very bad. Okay, great. Thank you so much. What if they can't work? Then of course they have to talk in terms of social welfare. Of course, there will be like one small group of people in any economy. They just have to live on social welfare. So they basically, government have to either support them, or either that they have to live on donations. Okay, very good. I think you're actually more or less have the basic understanding of economy, which is very good. Thank you so much. So as you can see now, if you actually do read the papers, I believe you do, if you actually look at, economy section, they always talk about unemployment rate. So unemployment rate is actually one of the main indicator to see whether the economy doing well or not. Next time, during election probably is going to come in another 2 years. You can see that if you actually go and listen to all the electoral messages, so when all the MPs, they will actually go and do all the rallies, you will keep hearing them talking about jobs, because that is the main thing. If there's not enough jobs, then economy is a problem. So Singapore, as you can see here, we are doing quite a good job. Unemployment remain low, 2.2. Whereas, as you can see, some of the countries, they can even go up to like 40%, okay, which is actually quite scary. Someone want to say something?
Basically now in the US, I have read that all those inflation and all those the inflation and all those they are making people unhappy, right? And then basically the Republicans basically they took this and then they exploited upon it.
Yeah, correct. Yes. Okay. Now, next issue is this: do we have enough labor to produce the goods? So, in a macroeconomy, we also have to make sure that sometimes it's the other extreme. It's like, do we have enough people to come and work to actually produce the goods? Like, for example, nurses, healthcare. Okay, or do we have enough workers? So I'm quite sure you all know in Singapore, we actually it's not so much worried about unemployment, but then we actually don't have enough labor, and we have to depend a lot on foreign workers. Okay, now maybe let's do a little discussion here. What are some of the issues engaging foreign workers? What are some of the
Language
issues?
barriers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Language barriers.
Okay, from an economic perspective lah, or from a language barrier. Okay, that's one. Okay,
Yeah,
discrimination.
because the thing is the language barriers, you actually like result in you affect the communication. Then after things cannot be communicated. Then of course you affect the economy because like what you demand the worker to do, the worker that doesn't understand, then you actually
Okay, sure. Okay, then after that, Ping Guo actually talk about discrimination. Thank you so much. Chen Guang actually said that you don't put money in, you leak money out. Well, not so much of an issue. If you ask me, not so much of an issue. End of the day, you know, you get people to work, you have to pay them. The people from country will have less work opportunity. Yes, thank you so much, Jovan. So in fact, this is the main complaint right now. What Jovan is actually saying, you know, you have foreign workers, you actually come and, you know, vie for jobs and prevent the locals to have the work opportunity. So in fact, this is one very major topic that is well discussed for Singapore. In fact, this is one of the main economic issue that Singapore is facing. Okay, so number one, we don't have enough workers. Okay, but when we actually start bringing in foreign workers to come in, so unavoidable, some of these workers will actually prevent our locals to get a job. So how do we actually do that? Also, that is what macroeconomics is about. How do we actually solve such issue? Okay, local also want jobs. Okay, because workers going to give back to their own country and all. Yes. Okay, Chen Guai, I think I get what you mean. Yes, eventually, they won't be here to spend the money. They won't be here to continue. And there may be some leakage. That's the thing. Okay, so thanks, sir. Thank you so much. I think y'all really get to the point. So end of the day, when you bring workers in, they may inevitably go and steal some of the jobs that the local wants. So the thing here is this. Are we able to have other solutions besides having foreign workers? Any ideas or not? So if let's say we don't want foreign workers to come in, we don't have enough labor. So what are some other solutions that we can have? Thank you so much. So in fact, we talk about bots, technology. That is something that have been actually well discussed. Any other crazy ideas or not? Maybe y'all can think of some crazy ideas to solve this economic problem. Any other thing? Okay, no, yeah, okay. So if not, yes. So thank you so much. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so Chen Guang, I hope that you're going to have 10 babies, Chen Guang, next time when you're married. Thank you so much. Interesting. Cutting overpopulation. Okay. But okay, so back to macroeconomy. So these are all the things that actually cause the economy not very easy to cause because you do well. Okay, because you cannot have too many people. If too many people, you have unemployment. You cannot have too little people. Too little people, then you don't have enough people to do the work. So from a government perspective, they always have to keep thinking of ideas to actually bring the thing in equilibrium. And you all have really pointed out some very good points. Thank you so much. Okay, so the last main issue with keeping the model equilibrium is pricing. Pricing. So we can have a case whereby everyone is working. Okay, we can have a case whereby, you know, the companies can produce the goods that people need. But we have this issue with prices. Too expensive. Okay, too expensive. Okay. Like for example, now you can see here, bumpy right ahead for Singapore economy, inflation to stay elevated. So we now, this is currently expensive right now. We have inflation now. What are some of the specific problems with inflation? Can you all share now? So things are now more expensive. Thank you so much. Okay, Ming Qian put a very good point. food is getting up, so on and so forth. What are some of the specific problem with inflation? Anyone can share? Anyone can share? More expensive, yes. And if it's more expensive, money reduce in value, okay. What else? Okay, you're all saying correct, but I'm actually looking for something more specific. Less purchasing power against country, okay. Lower quality of life, okay. I'm still didn't get the answer I want. If let's say inflation from a macro perspective, what is one of the worst problems going to happen? Looking at it from a macro perspective, from a country perspective, less jobs, no, no. Global recession, no, no. Okay, with inflation now, who is actually going to, which group of people is actually going to suffer the most? Okay, is it the rich going to suffer more, or is it the poor going to suffer more with inflation? Okay, thank you so much. So in fact, now the main problem in inflation here is this, we may actually price out some people who are poor. Okay. Okay, like for example, inflation may not be bad because a lot of times you have inflation, you also have salary increment. Okay, if let's say, yes, things become more expensive, but you have more salary, I think that's fine. But here's the thing, in all economy, you always have a group of people whose either salary won't increase, or either that they are not working. So when things become more expensive, they may not even able to buy some basic necessities. Okay, and from a macro economic perspective, that is a problem because let's say, for example, you have people who cannot buy food, who cannot afford basic healthcare, okay, who cannot afford basic transport. Then the economy will issue. You have people riots already. More salary does not matter. Well, at least compared to the poor is better off lah. So there are people who like things become more expensive and yet their salary don't go up.
Wait,
okay. Yes.
I mean, not only riots, it can actually also happen in the form of like, it can also happen in the form of like basically like the protest, or maybe even the coup. You know, the coup set up through the government. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So that's why you can see that's how important economics is. You need to actually make sure the economy run well. If not, this is in fact the main reason why a lot of other countries, they actually go into like what you said, protests, so on and so forth. Okay.
Yeah. I mean the worst it can get, in which like a lot of suffering will be there, is civil war. It can actually happen.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you so much. As Ming Chen also say, like for example, Sri Lanka, the things have become so expensive that a lot of people, they cannot afford. That's why they actually price up. Okay, great. You are doing a very good job. So basically, in terms of macroeconomics, we actually talk about how to make sure a country economy do well. Okay, so when we say a country economy do well, what must happen? Everyone must have a job. No, the companies are able to have enough labor and produce things that people want, and then the prices cannot be too expensive. Okay, so here's the thing, from a government perspective, what are the tools that they can use to tweak so that they can actually help to improve the economy or to solve some of this problem when it arises. So this is where we actually talk about policies. Some of the policies they can actually use, that they can actually do to prevent all these issues. So either that, when the issues occur, to have to solve this issue. Now, there's actually two main policies that can use. One is called the monetary policy, The other one is the fiscal policy. We talk about monetary policy first. So before that, I will actually explain what is money. And of course, you can actually stimulate the economy. You can create more jobs by increasing the money supply. And you sort of can slow down with the interest rate. That we actually talk about this very soon. Okay, let's talk a little bit about history of money. Have you all heard about history of money? Anyone? Okay, so anyway, let me just get into this. Now, how did money get started? So long time ago, then of course there's no such thing as money. Okay, so when people want to get things, they do this thing called barter trade. Barter trade. So what's going to happen here? If let's say, for example, I'm a chicken farmer. Then I want to have cow. I want to actually get a cow. So I will actually go to the cow farmer and say, hey, maybe I exchange 10 chicken with you and you give me a cow. So that is how initially what people do. They don't have money. Okay. And after that, they just exchange. Of course, after a while, it actually becomes very troublesome. So what if the cow farmer don't want chicken, but I really want a cow? So barter trade doesn't really solve a lot of problems. So this is where the first money come into place. Okay, they actually use precious metals, like for example, gold, silver. So let's say, for example, okay, my chicken, I go and exchange it for gold. And with my gold, I can actually go and buy cow. So that is in fact, this is how the first money look like. They actually go to exchange into precious metal. Now, but what's the problem here? The precious metal is actually too heavy. Is that you cannot always go around carrying a lot of gold, a lot of silver. It's actually too heavy. So money actually evolved to what we call a paper representation. Paper representation. Okay. And so this is also where the bank also actually is born. So let's say, for example, I have 10 gold. Instead of bring the gold around, what do? I actually put the gold in the bank. And the bank actually give me this paper to say that, hey, this paper is actually equivalent to 10 golds that you have in the bank. So in fact, that is the next phase of money. That's the next phase of money. Now, in the past, the money is actually still backed by gold. In the past, money is actually still backed by gold. That means for every dollar that you and me hold, okay, that is actually a gold. There's actually a gold somewhere that can actually back this dollar, or this dollar note, or this money is actually equivalent to a gold that is actually stored somewhere. But today, as what Chen Guang has correctly put, today, money is no longer backed by gold. We have evolved into a state whereby the money is no longer backed by gold, which means to say, what's going to happen? The government, the authorities can just simply print money. Can just simply print money, and they can just simply increase the money supply. And Chen Guang has clearly put it, so it's no longer, what do you call it? Gold standard, don't have already. Okay, we don't talk about the USA anti-promise yet, but it's definitely not by gold. And the main thing I want to say here is this. So in fact, today you can just simply increase the money supply by just printing money. Also, this is the history of money. Now, I just want to share with you, there's another way to increase the money supply, okay, through the banking system. Okay, how many of you, okay, let me ask you this question. If let's say, for example, you deposit $100 into the bank, Okay, today you deposit $100 in bank. I'm quite sure you all know bank is in the business of lending money out. Okay, you deposit money, then after that bank will actually lend out the money. If you deposit $100 to the bank, the bank with your $100, how much can they lend out? Is it A, $100, B, less than $100, or C, more than $100? Okay, please help me type the answer. So here's the question. Assuming you deposit $100 in the bank today, how much can the bank lend out? Is it A, $100, B, less than $100, or C, more than $100? Okay, if you don't know, make a guess. Anyone can help me here? A, B, or C? Jovan said C. Anybody else? Okay, Ming Chen said C. Thank you so much. Answer is actually C. And it's totally legit. Totally legit. Thank you so much. Totally legit. Okay, so this is how the banking system works. So with the deposit, they can actually lend out more than what they have received. If you want a technical term, it's actually based on this thing called the capital adequacy ratio. And let's assume that if, let's say, capital adequacy ratio is 10%, for every $1 the bank gets in saving, they can actually lend out $10. Okay, so in this way, it's also creating money. It's also creating money. Now, you all may be wondering, how come banks can actually lend out more money than what they have? Okay, so think about this. So let's say, for example, okay, maybe some of you will have the experience. Let's say, for example, your parents, when they go and buy a house, okay, when they go and buy a house, they will probably borrow money from the bank. Okay, so does your parent actually withdraw a lot of cash from the bank? Not yes or no? So let's say, for example, your parents, when he actually go and buy a property from a developer, let's say $1 million, does your mom or dad actually go to the bank and withdraw physical $1 million notes and bring it to the developer? Yes or no? Do they do that? Do they actually withdraw the money? Okay, no, right? So all I had to do is probably write a check or something like this. So on the same note, when the developer received the check, they also do not drop the money. So they just actually deposit the check into the bank. So in that sense, even though physically, the physical dollar note is actually only $100, you can actually lend out more, because when a lot of transactions, you don't really take up that physical note. Okay, so just in case you're wondering how you can do that. Okay, Ping Guo asked a very good question. Who actually controls CAR? Okay, in Singapore, anybody want to make a guess? Which is the authority? Of course, it's government, but which is the authority that actually controls CAR? Anybody want to make a guess? Or if you know the answer, please share. Who actually controls the CAR? Thank you so much, MAS. MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, and that is our central bank. Our central bank. Okay, so central bank is the one that actually decides who is actually what is the CR should be. Yes, it's standardized. So basically what happened here is this. MAS will actually have a rule to say that, okay, what is the minimum CAR that they have to meet? Okay, of course, the bank can actually decide from themselves, do they actually want to follow, or either that supersede. So let's say, for example, the bank set CAR of 10%. So maybe DBS can say, okay, I want to be a little bit more conservative. They put at 15. OCBC can say, I want to be more conservative. I put at 20%, so on and so forth. Okay, but the standard to meet is actually, yes, decided by MAS, and yes, all the banks will have to meet the same standards, minimum standards. Okay, very good question. Thank you so much, Pinko, for asking. So with that, the banks can actually also create money. Now, I've talked about basically how money can be created. Okay, how government can simply increase the money supply. And why am I actually talking about all this? Because this is what we call, this is related to what we call monetary policy. Monetary policy. If let's say the government want the economy to be better, the government want to create more jobs, okay, the government want people to have more money. So one way for them to do so is to apply monetary policy, which is simply increasing the money supply. Okay, and how can they do that? They can do that either by simply printing, because today the money is no longer backed by gold. They can just go and print. And number two is they can just let the bank do the work. Once you put more money in, the bank can let out more money. Now, how come increasing money supply, you are actually creating more jobs? You're actually improving the economy. So this is what happened here. When money supply increase, what's going to happen? People will buy more things. Okay, so it happened a few times. So let's say, for example, if you all read today's papers, so government is giving out money again. So I think 1.5 million household is actually going to get $300 extra. So think about this, when you have more money, okay, what's going to happen? Very likely you will spend. I'm quite sure like y'all may experience this during Chinese New Year when you actually get ang pao, when you have more money, okay, very likely you will actually buy more things. So this is very basic human nature. When we receive more money, we'll tend to spend more. Okay, so when the money supply increase, there will be demand, increasing demand for goods and services. And once this demand increase, okay, remember there is a spiral effect. Okay, you talk about spiral effect, what's going to happen? Okay, when they say demand, then companies see that, wow, you know, I produce 10, it sells very quickly. So next time what do? I will produce 15. Wow, it still sells very quickly, then I'll produce more. So when company produce more, what's going to happen? They actually need to demand for more labor. Okay, and then demand for more labor, what's going to happen? More people get employed. Okay, more people get employed means what? They actually make more money, and yes, you can further increase the demand for goods and services. Okay, so this is basically what we call one of the monetary policy. They increase the money supply. How do they do that? They can simply go and print or use the banking system. Okay, with the increased money supply, people, give the people more money. Okay, they will have demand, and it can actually help to what? Help to increase the employment. And of course, economy benefit as a whole. So this is one of the monetary policy. Now, unfortunately, every policy has its pros and cons. Okay, there's no perfect policy, and because the thing moves in spiral, okay, things can easily spin out of hand. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like everything is like unpredictable. I mean, this world is actually can be described with one word, like pragmatic, because basically we have seen that like you know, like we have seen that like on the political section, like you know, those right wing, left wing, and all those, that there are all sorts of, there are actually all sorts of examples, like in each like basically like of the economy, like being successful or not successful, like in it, like basically for each and every type, those ideology of like the governance.
That's true. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Okay. So let's come back. So basically, money supply, it can also unfortunately increase the price. So when Okay, in fact, this is what exactly what happened right now. So to fight COVID, right, US has been printing so much money. Okay, so over the last 2 years, the US have been printing money, the Chinese have been printing money, the Europeans have been printing money. So it has actually put the economy in such a potty spiral. Then of course, what's going to happen? Price increase. Okay, why would price increase? Okay, I'm quite sure some of you has actually went to like fun fair before. Okay, so in a fun fair, what's going to happen? You actually have coupons, right? You have coupons. Okay, so the question here is this. If let's say each of you only have a $5 coupon, okay, you come to my food and fun fair, each of you only can have $5 coupon. Can I actually sell my hot dog for $10 or not? Yes or no? If let's say each of you only got a $5 coupon, okay, cannot, right? Because hey, $5, then hot dog $10, then what? Go to fun fair, eat half hot dog, cannot be. But the thing here is this, if let's say my money supply increase, now if each of you have $50, can I actually sell my hot dog for $10 now? Yes or no? If each of you have $50, can I actually sell my hot dog for $10? Yes. So you can see, yeah, money supply is actually a good monetary policy to actually improve the economy, to create jobs. But then what's going to happen? Then you have inflation problem. Then after that, things will become more expensive. Why? Because too much money, it will actually cause things to appreciate, okay, inflation to come in. So that's why they always have to use another policy to counter, which is interest rate. So I'm quite sure now, if you have been following the papers, anybody heard the news? Recently, Fed has increased the interest rate by how many percent? Anybody saw the news? Recently, US increased the interest rate by how many percent? Anyone saw the news? Okay. If not, later I'll show you. So interest rate, okay, by the way, do you all know what is interest rate? Like for example, if you actually, how can you actually get interest rate? Can someone share with me? How can you actually get interest? If I want to earn some interest, what do I do? Anyone can help me here? If I want to earn some interest, what do I do? Thank you so much. You put in the bank, then actually the bank give you interest rate. Okay, so on the same context, if you actually go and borrow money from the bank, okay, the bank is not going to be so nice, just give you money, they are actually going to charge you interest. So how does interest rate actually help to control the economy or control the inflation? Now, this is what happened here when interest rate increase. Okay, can someone please share when interest rate go up? Do you have more people borrowing or less people borrowing when interest rate go up? More or less? When interest rate go up,
obviously less.
It's less. Thank you so much. And of course, they borrow less means what? They're actually going to buy less things. They're actually going to buy less things. And then you will also get the buy less things. That means what? Company, my things cannot be sold. Then of course they produce lesser. Then they have the demand for labor reduces. And of course, unemployment drop. And again, this can go into a negative spiral. So in fact, this is what US is doing now to curb the inflation problem. And like what Chen Guang has mentioned earlier, if let's say this is not managed well, Chen Guang can share again, if this is not managed well, if interest rate keep going up too high, this spiral go down, what will the economy go into? Thank you so much. Recession. Okay, recession. So basically, going to recession whereby you have high unemployment. Okay, people don't have enough jobs. Okay, and at the same time, the company is producing lesser, making less money. Oh, so this is what the government has been controlling. If the economy don't do well, they may actually use printing money supply, increase money supply to stimulate economy, try to create more jobs. But unfortunately, sometimes if it's they actually do it too aggressively, you know, prices shoot up like what's happening now. Okay, they may have to use other tools like interest rate to actually control it. EC asked a very good question. Inflation in US is mostly self-inflicted, right? Yes, little to do with the war in Ukraine. I thought US is self-sufficient and import less from. Okay, so I would say that I would actually say that is a yes. So I would believe that a lot of inflation is actually because US over the past 2 years has been keep printing money, keep printing money. Okay, but there is also some impact due to the Ukraine war. So actually, US actually do import a lot of food resources. So if you talk about Ukraine and Russia, they are, I think, the third largest in terms of wheat export. In terms of global wheat consumption, right? Actually, they are the third largest in producing all the wheat. So you can't say that US actually didn't import from Russia, didn't import from Ukraine, may not be directly. So in that sense, there is also some of that impact that caused inflation. But I agree with you is that mostly because it's self-inflicted, because they have been increasing their money supply. Okay, let me just share with you some
because actually I went to search up the US. It also produces a lot of wheat.
Correct. Yes. So I agree with you. Mostly it's self-inflicted, but I don't think that I do think that the war still have certain impact. Okay, but you're right, yeah, because let me show you some numbers. It's still predominantly due to their own what do you call that, money supply lah. Okay, again, I'm back at trading economics. So this is the money supply charts. Can you see during the COVID period, okay, US suddenly prints so much more money. Okay, and after that, keep increasing. So
can
this
I
is
just interject?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Okay, you see, you're right also, it's very much self-inflicted. 20 year, you look at the chart, year 2020 onwards, it's because of the money printing. But 2 years prior, 2018, I think you probably are aware of the trade war that the Donald Trump has initiated. So that actually adds on some inflationary pressure already. That's the starting is actually from there. And then Ukraine war further puts more pressure on the economy in US because of the energy needs and all that. Yeah. So thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ken. Yeah.
Oh wait, but I thought that like US they actually have their own. They actually have their like own oil. Like they have, like I heard that like I read that actually like in the US like they got actually like oil drilling plants and all those.
Yes, they do. In fact, now they are now exporting energy. You are correct.
You know, Biden's policies, he's more pro-green, right? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we have money supply and interest rate to help to really balance off. That's why it's actually not easy job. You know, if you have too much money supply, it actually cause this, then you interest rate too high may actually cause recession. So that's why the economies, in fact, a lot of government is always trying to find what is the right level of increasing money supply. Cannot bring too much, cannot bring too little. Interest rate cannot go up too much, cannot too little, and always try to keep the economic equilibrium. Okay, so that's this is the article I'll show you. So in fact, the US just increased the interest rate by 0.75. percentage point. Also, that's how they actually raise rates, hopefully to slow down the inflation. As you can see, a very recent article also just, I think, last week. Now, the other policy that government can use is actually called this thing called fiscal policy, okay, which is related to government spending. Okay, and this is very direct now. Of course, government spend money. Okay, let's say, for example, they go and build a bridge. They go and build another hospital. Then obviously it will actually create a lot of jobs. Okay, at the same time, government can use tax to influence choice of goods. So let's say government don't want you all to smoke. Then what's going to happen? Your cigarette, the tax is actually very high. Okay, now recently, for example, government don't want you all to drive. What's going to happen? So the tax is also very high to actually pay for a car right now. So technically speaking, COE is almost like a tax already. Okay. So of course, with fiscal policy, same thing, government spend, okay, directly, government is the one that actually demand the goods and services. Okay, government say, I want to have, I want to actually build a bridge. Then they have to go and buy all the raw materials. They have to go and employ the people, okay, so on and so forth. Okay, so of course, demand for goods and services increase, and it can actually bring the economy into a positive spiral. Okay, good. So in fact, like for example, in Singapore, one of the things our government do is actually they keep spending money to actually make Singapore very business friendly. Also, this is from the EDB website. Now we are actually first in Asia for innovation, first in the world for doing business, second easiest location in the world to do business. So the government has been spending a lot of money to actually build a conducive environment to do business. So this is also part of fiscal policy, you know, to actually keep the economy keep running well. Now, of course, let's say when the price increase too much, or if let's say government decide to tax, obviously this will hurt the demand for goods and services. Okay, so like for example, cars, the COE now very expensive, is a form of tax. Then obviously you reduce the demand and actually get, you know, the things in reverse order. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, end of the day, the government, number one, what's the objective? They actually want to make sure that the macroeconomics is working well for their country. And what do we mean by working well? You must have a jobs. Everyone must have a job. Everyone must have enough money, and everyone can actually get the desired goods and services, which means companies must be able to produce the goods and services that people want. Okay, but because of the cyclical effect, very hard to find the perfect balance. So what are the tools that the government can use to always keep in balance? They have monetary policy, okay, which is increasing money supply. They can play around the interest rates. And from the fiscal side, they can govern spending and they can do tax. So at the end, how does the government measure their performance? They actually use this thing called GDP. GDP is the gross domestic product. Okay, it refers to the market value of all final goods and services produced within a country in a given period. So you can think of it as is the country's revenue. If you actually see country as a company, okay, if you see country as a company, so it's like the profit of the country, profit of the economy. Okay, so we use GDP to measure whether, hey, this economy doing well or not. And from there, government will actually tweak their monetary policy, tweak their fiscal policy to actually make sure that everything will go well. So this is one of the main measures to see how it works. Okay, very good question. Okay, how to calculate GDP? So in fact, there's actually two ways to calculate GDP. One is called the expense method. one is called the income method. So if you're interested, let me show you. Okay, I see whether, okay, this is usually the website I actually go to look for all the economics term. Okay, you can actually do this. GDP. Okay, I go to investopedia.com. GDP. Okay, you can read more about it. How to calculate GDP is actually here. Okay, then they got the expenditure approach. Okay, so they actually calculate GDP by C plus G plus I plus NX. So they actually look at the total consumption. Okay, basically they see, okay, everybody in the country, how much they spend. Okay, how much they spend. Then what's the total government spending? Okay, what is the total investment plus net export to calculate GDP. So this is one way to calculate GDP. And the other way is the income approach. Okay, they didn't really share here. So there's actually the other way called the income approach, which is looking at it from their profit perspective. Okay, is GDP the overall average of the products for the country? Yes. So Zihao asked the question, overall average of the product. Okay, I wouldn't say it's the average. You can think of it as the total sales of the product produced in a particular country. The total sales of the product produced in a particular country. Also, Zihao, hope I answer your question. Okay. Okay, EC, very good question. So maybe Kenny can help to discuss with you later. So let me just finish what I have to say. So for macroeconomy, they actually use things like GDP to help them to have a sense whether are they doing well, doing no good. And again, they can actually look at some of these indicators. Okay, look at some of these indicators to help. Okay, so the very last exercise, can someone tell me what is the GDP growth rate for Singapore last year? You can again go to the Trading Economics website and see. Can someone please help me to check what is the GDP growth rate for Singapore last year? Okay, maybe three countries are Singapore, US, and China. GDP growth rate, you can go to Trading Economics. GDP growth rate for Singapore, US, and China. %10.1%, is it for Singapore? Zihe, is it for Singapore? Thank you. What about US and China? Thank you. China, 8.1. Okay, US 5.7. Okay, let's take a look together. We can, of course, go to Trading Economics. So the answer is here, US. Okay, I'm not too sure where you get the number. Okay, but as you can see here, US, let's see, wrong website. Okay, so you can see the US year-on-year 3.5%, China 4.8%, and Singapore okay, 3.7%. Okay, so it doesn't mean that this number have to be super high because it's actually quite normal for what we call a developed nation. That means the economy has been already very matured. Okay, to have the GDP growth rate about 3 to 5%. Okay, but the thing is, it must be positive. Like for example, Hong Kong, can you see -4? Then it's actually into, it's actually not very good. That means the economy not doing very well. And okay, like for example, you have all this. Once they actually go to negative, that means the economy is actually not doing very well. They probably have to tweak their monetary policy, fiscal policy, to actually make sure that the economy is actually going back. So very likely all these countries are not having a good time. So for a matured economy, you need the GDP to be about 3 to 5% on an annual basis. So I think like places like Singapore actually still doing okay. And of course, for a developing, that means for countries who are actually still new, it's actually quite common for them to have very high GDP growth. So this is how they measure whether the economy going well, going too fast, and whether do we actually need to tweak accordingly. And this is what macroeconomics is about. So hopefully today I have give you a very good overview of what exactly is macroeconomy. There are some questions, so maybe we will take them. And of course, if there are more questions, please feel free to ask. Kenny, can I just trouble you to take the question by EC?
Yeah, sure. Okay. It's not that US don't have green energies like solar and all that. They do, but in fact, Biden, when during his election campaign, when he was a candidate back then, he is pushing for these policies. But however, we need to understand that in United States, especially in the political stage, there's very strong business lobbies that in fact they have pretty relatively strong control or influence over the political candidates and subsequently those politicians, because they're funding their election campaign. So eventually the politicians will be so-called lean towards making policy or proposing policy that favors those industries. I give you a very straightforward example. Recently we read a lot of news about shooting in US, right? And then why we can't ask why the US government can't curb arms control? For all of you who is aware, maybe you can argue that, oh, they have the Second Amendment in the US Constitution that allows US citizens to carry arms, but government they set the laws, they can change it, right? But is it so easy to change? You can't, because the politicians themselves, they are actually getting fundings from NRA, which is the National Rifles Association, that will sort of influence the politicians to put up policies that will favor the industry. In this case, is the arms. So just to answer a question, for the energy part, it's the same thing. There's a strong business lobbies that funds the politicians, and then is influencing how the government policies is going to be. Thanks.
Wait. I also actually read that actually basically the Republicans, they actually overwhelmingly back pro-gun policies. I read that.
Yes, it's true, because most of the Republican politicians and candidates they actually receives a lot of funding from the NRA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody else has any other questions? Okay, so if not, thank you so much. Hopefully today give you a very good idea of what macroeconomy is. Tomorrow, please come back at 7 o'clock, same time, whereby Alvin will talk about microeconomy. Also, we actually look at economics from a very different perspective. And from there, you can, again, have a better picture of what the whole economy is about. So tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock. So same thing, I will actually send the Zoom link to the coordinator. Remember to come in. See you all tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.